Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is David from Daveden Web Dev, and on this channel I like to talk about all things WordPress, especially about accessibility and dynamic data. And I've been currently using Elementor and Bricks, but in the future I'll be going through different page builders, just trying to see how we can unify ourselves and come up with better web development tools. So if you can hear me, if you can see me, please do leave it in the comments so that I know that the video and the audio are all good and we can go on from there. For today's video, we'll be looking first at Bricks 1.11 beta, which just came out yesterday, I believe. Then we'll be looking at the accessibility improvements that they said they've introduced. After that, we'll switch over and we'll check out Elementor as well and see some of the accessibility improvements that they have introduced over the years and if it's okay. Oh, thank you. Thank you for confirming that the audio is coming out well. And yeah, we'll go on from there now. So let me go ahead and share my screen so that we can see what the update is and we'll go through the updates together. So let me switch over. Yeah. So here we have the bricks. The version is 1.11 beta. And as we can see, let me go ahead and check the changelog. So from the changelog, I'll leave a link to it in the description so you can go ahead and check it out yourselves. So here's the changelog. Oh, thanks, Eddie, as well. Thank you for confirming. Yeah, so that's the changelog. If you want to go ahead and check it out, this is Bricks 1.11 beta. And the things that interested me were accessibility. You know, whenever they mention accessibility anywhere, my ears get like heightened and I start to see what they came up with. And for Bricks, let me see if I can zoom it in. It says that the accordion and tab elements, including their nested counterparts, have received significant accessibility improvements. The accordions and nested accordions provide a new setting to generate schema.org FAQ schema. So that one, I'm not going to be testing that one, but just more of the accessibility improvements. This schema is more for SEO and for structured data. And it says the builder toolbar is now keyboard accessible. Oh, hi, Toby. Thanks for joining in. It says the builder toolbar is now accessible. We can now use Alt if you are on a Windows or Options plus the letter T to go to the tab. But we'll test all of this to see how accessible it is. And yeah, the last one is the video elements. I don't really like touching the video elements for most page builders because I've had bad experiences with video elements in general. So I'll leave that to more expert people to test it out. But yeah, so let's go ahead and just test out some of these. So the accordion and the tabs. Before we do the test, let me go ahead and share, because I know one of the things that sparked the whole of this conversation was the report from Equalize Digital. So let me go ahead and paste that in the comments so you can go ahead and see it yourself. So you can go ahead and check out that link that I've posted. It will take you to the Equalize Digital website where they showed the report. And in that report, if I go down to the bottom, it showed some very nice statistics. So it showed that one of the page builders that people like love a lot, which is Bricks, it came in 8th position. Divi came in 10th, which is understandable because I just did a test recently. If you've not seen the video, you can go ahead and check it out after the live stream where I tested out Divi and I was impressed by their new UI, which is faster and other things. But in terms of accessibility, there was zero improvements for accessibility. But like I've been told, they said first, they're just trying to do the backwards compatibility first. Once they've made sure everything is smooth transition from DV4 to DV5. Then they'll start adding in all the new features like Flex and Grid and all the other things. So that's fingers crossed. We'll see new updates in the future. Oh, thanks for this comment. Let me go ahead and show it. So, thank you very much. Yeah. So yeah, now we've had all of these page builders. We'll go ahead and now see what did they say for accordions and for tabs. So for the accordions, let's see if I can get there. Okay. So it says that, did I get there? With our tabs, let me just go to the beginning. And sorry, I'm scrolling very fast. So the accordions, let me go there. So for the accordions, it says that the accordion titles should be headings with buttons that are nested inside of the heading. Then the buttons should have all of these ARIA expanded to communicate screen reader users that it is either opened or closed, and then ARIA controls to give that relationship between what is being expanded and the button that's expanding it. So, and all of this should be there. Now let me go ahead and show you what was the results for the bricks. It showed that bricks, it failed almost everything. This was for the standard tab with the standard accordion with bricks back in the day. But with 1.11, they've made some updates, which we will test and see if the updates have fixed all of these issues. So the first one they said was that the titles are headings with button tags in them. So the keyword here is the title should be the headings, but then the button tags should be inside of the headings. Then the buttons should use ARIA expanded. All of that bricks failed it before. The buttons should use ARIA controls to reference content. Bricks failed that before. Then the user should be able to choose the heading level. Bricks were able to pass that. Then it should have visible focus and should work on zoom. All of those things, bricks failed everything. So let's go ahead and now open up the bricks website. So let me see if I've opened it up. So yeah, like I said, this is bricks 1.11 beta. Yeah, the DV5, yeah, it's good in terms of like the speed of the performance improvements and other things, but in terms of the accessibility, they had like zero effort. They didn't make any effort at all to make it accessible, so which is a bummer. But yeah, let me go ahead now and open a new page. Then let's just open let me just create a new page. I'll call that page maybe just Ali test. Publish it, publish. Then I'll go ahead and edit it to bricks. Well, thanks for the comments, but I can't really say I'm the best. We are all learning from each other here, so I'm following what was written by Amber Hines. So she's the one who knows more about accessibility. I'm just following what she wrote. So yeah, let's go back and see. So now I'll go ahead and drop in a section. Within the section, I'll go ahead and drop in all of the elements. So let me start with the accordion, so the standard accordion. I'm not really going to change anything, I think. Yeah, it already has content, it has everything. So let me just save it the way it is and preview it on the front end. So I'll go ahead and preview it. So we have this accordion item and item 2. Ideally, you would want to have some kind of like hover state so that we know that we're actually hovering over something that can be clicked. But that is probably, it is somewhere in the builder. I'll check that later. Then let me see if I click on it. So we'll do the visual test first, because the way I like to do the tests, I'll start with the visual test with a mouse and see if the interaction works well, if I can perceive it as a visual user, if I can understand what is going on, and if, basically I can operate it. Then after that, I'll go ahead and check the HTML structure. Then we can go ahead and test out keyboard interaction. And finally, I'll try and see if I can test out the interaction with a screen reader. I don't know if it will work well with my setup currently, but we'll see. Okay, yeah. Thanks for confirming that. The hover state, we can change it. So now let's go ahead and see it with the. Okay, so when I click on it, I can actually open the content, which is good. Then now let's go ahead and check out the HTML. So I'll come over, right click, then go and inspect the HTML. And let's see. Okay, so we have the heading 5. And let me see what's going on here. Oh, okay, so that means they are doing it in a way that is not really. Let me open it. Okay, yeah. So the way they're doing it is the opposite. They are putting the button on the outside, because I can see role equal to button here. Let me see if I can zoom it, bring it up a little bit. And zoom in. Yeah, so definitely there are still problems with the structure already. Because let me go ahead and open the accessibility tree. That's an easier way to just see what's going on here. So I'll open the tree. If you don't have this stickman on your dev tools, all you have to do is just come over to the right hand side of your screen. You see this double arrow sign. When you click on it, you see accessibility there. When you click on it, it will open up the accessibility tree. Then I like to use the enable full page accessibility tree. When you activate that, it will give you this stickman. It will ask you to first refresh the dev tools, then to bring up this stickman. So let me click on it, and we'll go ahead and see. Let me see if I can find it again. So inspect. Okay. So yeah, like I said, they are using button and then the heading and other things inside of the button. Whereas what is advised, let me open two. These are two documents I like to work with. So the first one is this pattern, and the second one is from the US department. Those two documents are the documents I like to use to test for like the accessibility, how the pattern should look like. So now let me go back and see the pattern. As you can see here, it says we should have H3 or like a heading with the appropriate level. Then we should have a button, then a div with a role equal to region. And it gives you an example here. So see, we have the H3, then the button inside, and then within the button, we have the span. So we have one for the title and one for the icon. The reason why we do it this way is because from the HTML specs, it is recommended to have the inline element inside a block element. Although HTML5 allows for like your buttons and your links, so you can have a div inside an A tag, but wherever possible, you should have the block level element, which is the heading, should be the parent. Then any inline level element, like your A tag, your span, should be inside of the heading. But they are doing it the opposite direction. So I don't know if that's a fail or a pass. That one, I'll leave it for more professional people to test. And maybe if I test it with the screen reader, it will give me some updates. But let's go ahead and continue looking. So as this is what we're looking at. So that's the first problem, is that they put the heading inside of the button. Instead of the button should be inside the heading. So that's one problem. The second problem here is this list. This is not supposed to be a list, because I noticed it when I checked here. Here's what they did. They set up on the li should have a role equal to presentation. So that now makes the list item to be like completely negated. So there's basically no more list item, but then there's still a list. The UL still has the role equal to list. I think they should have either just changed all of this to just divs and save us the trouble, or they have to put the role equal to presentation on the UL so that it will negate the role that is currently on the UL, which is called the role equal to list. So that's, I don't know, I guess they started it, but they didn't complete it. They should also put this role equal to presentation also on the UL so that both the UL and the LI will no longer have the semantic meaning that they had before. So those are the two problems I'm seeing here. So let me go ahead and see if there are other problems. So we have this, and we'll test it out with the keyboard and see if it works. Because now they're using divs rather than buttons. They're using div with a role equal to button. The problem of using div with a role equal to button is that you now have to add extra bit of what's it called? HTML, extra bit of JavaScript to listen for both the spacebar and the enter key. You have to add other kind of things. But if you use the correct semantic HTML from the start, then you don't have to be worried about having to add extra HTML plus extra area information plus extra JavaScript to include the correct event listeners. So that's why we always advise, wherever possible, use the semantic HTML, especially for like interactive elements. Don't be using divs for your links and buttons. If you have a link, use an A tag. If you have a button that does an action, use a button tag. And don't mix the two together. Don't use a link for a button. Use links for their purpose. Use buttons for their purpose. Yes, we can always change the role using role equal to button, role equal to whatever. But ideally, we shouldn't be doing that. Yeah, so that's it for that one. Let me go ahead and see the area information as well and see if they're actually using the correct area information. So we have the area controls, which should be linking back. Oh yeah, before I forget, hi Lex, thanks for joining in. Hi Bob, thanks for joining in. So yeah, for the trigger, which is, so the way this whole thing should work is that this accordion title should be outside, but it shouldn't have any of this area information. So the whole of this area information should be on the button, which should be inside of the title. And then let me see, the area controls should be controlling the region. So yeah, this has a role equal to region, area labeled by the accordion, okay. And then let's see if the ID is there. Yeah, the ID is there, okay. And then the area controls links back to the ID of the accordion panel. So yeah, these other ones, I think they all look okay. Let me check the accessibility tree again. As you can see, because we added that area labeled by and area controls, so when a screen reader user lands on the button, it gets the name item 1, so and so. When it lands on the content, because we've used the area labeled by, it will now get the name from the button. So that's why the names are the same, and so on and so forth. But now we'll go ahead and check out with a keyboard. So let me exit this and do the keyboard test. So I press Ctrl L to go to the search bar and then start tabbing through. Okay. Let me now see. Okay, I can get access to the accordion panel. Let me press the enter key. Yes, it opens and closes. Let me press the space bar. It opens and closes. That means they added all the event listeners. So that's okay. Yeah. Then let me press the tab key again to see if I can go to the second item. Okay, that's it. If I'm open here, okay, because there's no link within the panel, that's why I cannot get access to the panel, which is all okay. So yeah, I think in terms of the keyboard interaction and the other things, everything is okay. The only thing that I'm not liking is those two HTML elements that they included. So where possible, they should remove this ULLI if they're not going to use it, because rather than using role equal to presentation, then just simply remove it, or you make both of them to have role equal to presentation. So the UL and the LI should have role equal to presentation, so that it's now treated as a div, basically. So, and then the second thing they need to do is just move the title out of the button. The button should be inside the title. So now let me see if it's better for the other accordion, which is the nested one. So nested or nestable, okay. This is the accordion nestable. Okay, so we have the second one. Let me save it. And we'll go back, refresh the page and see what it is. Okay, so with the mouse test again, everything opens. Okay, now I'll check the HTML, inspect it, and see if they made it better. So, okay, yeah, for this one, they allowed us to switch it back to divs. So both of them are divs. I guess that's one of the benefits of the nestable elements, that since we have access to all of the HTML structure, they can easily change all of these things. So these are all divs. There's no need to put role equal to presentation because it's already a div. But I guess they just did it to be backwards compatible somewhere. Then let's see. So they're still doing the same thing. Role equal to button on the outward element. It should still be like the other one. They should switch it around. So the H5 should be outside, and then the button should be inside and should actually be using the button tag rather than the role equal to button. It's just easier for assistive technologies to work with. Then I think every other thing looks okay. Let me test it out with this. Inspect and see. So the same problem, that the button should be inside of the heading. Then, and every other thing looks okay. For this one, I think, let me see, open it. Oh, okay, yeah, so everything looks okay. Yeah, I think this should be okay. The only thing I'll do is let me go ahead and see if the area expanded and area. So where's the area expanded? Okay, it's true. If I close it, okay, false. So yeah, everything is changing. The area expanded is changing from true to false when it is closed. So yeah. Okay, I think it's way better now. I believe they will get a pass now. Just they should change the structure for the title. Yeah. Oh yeah, let me see if I can put this up for everybody to see. Yeah. Yeah, like they say, with great power comes great responsibility. So once they give you more power, you are expected to know how to use the power. Otherwise, everything will break. But that's just it. So let me go ahead and now test out the next one. So I guess this one, they will have some changes in their score when the team does a better testing. But let's go ahead and test the next one, which is the tabs. So let me see tabs. So for the tabs, they failed everything before. So let's see if everything has improved now. The only thing they got right is that tab controls can be in a list. And that's what the only thing they got right the other time. So let me go back. And this time I'll delete all of these. We don't need them. Delete. Delete. Then I'll go ahead and add in a tab. Let's see. So the tabs. Okay, content 1, content 2. Let me go ahead and maybe add a link into the content. So you can just something. Okay. Let me now link it to maybe my website. Okay. So just to have some content there. Okay, so let me save it. Then I'll go ahead and check it on the front end. So we have our oh yeah. So okay, let me see if I can answer that question. So for most of these things I'm testing out now, I'm responding to Bob, which says that he's lost, that when designing a website, how do you even go about considering the points I'm talking about? So the idea here is that it is supposed to be the page builder. That's why it is testing out page builders. This is supposed to be a page builder test. Most of these interactive elements, the whole what's it called? The whole job, it's mainly on the developers of the page builder or the plugin to make it accessible. You just need to know as much as you can to like point them in the right direction. But they should make their components as accessible as possible. That's why you see a lot of components now that are being released, especially for breaks. You see people always tagging it as, like you see frames. You say it is built with accessibility in mind, or things like that. So they are the ones who now have to put in so much effort into making all of these things accessible so that we can just use it and we are rest assured that at least they do the barest minimum for us. So yeah, that's it. So then, well, let's just go ahead and test it out and see. Let me close all of these other ones. Okay, refresh the page. So yeah, we have our tool. The clicking is working. Now let me go ahead and do the tab. So I'll tab through to it. Okay, we can see focus outline, which is one of the important things. And the outline is usually like a rectangle shape or some kind of like line around the element to make it us easily know that we are on an element, because any other thing like colors and any other thing we're using to show focus, it is only good for some certain people, not good for everybody. So that's why the recommended way to show focus outline is with an actual outline. So a rectangle around whatever element we are focusing on. And I'm using the tab key to navigate through all of the focusable elements. So any element that you can click on, I should be able to tab to that element. So you see, all of these elements, because I can click on them, I should be able to tab to them as well using the keyboard. So I can tab through all of these links and onto the tab title. Now let me see. Now that there's no link in the element, can I still focus on the element? So let me press the tab key. Okay, yes, I can still focus on the element. Let me now press. So the way the keyboard, let me show if I can find it. The keyboard interaction. So patterns. And let's look for tabs. This is a slide. Okay, table and then tabs. Yes, so here are tabs. So this is the tab pattern. Let me go ahead and show, because I think they are using, see what are they using? Okay, they're using automatic activation. So let's look for automatic activation. And so the tab key should focus on the item that is active, okay? And then when the tab list contains a focus, it should move to the next element in the tab sequence, which is the tab panel element, okay? That one, I've already tested it out to see the tab is working. Then I'll try the right and left arrow keys to see if it's working. Then optionally, we'll try with the home and end key. So home key should move focus to the first tab, and then end key should move focus to the last tab. Let's see if it works. So let me come back. Okay. So now I'm on the element. I'll press the right arrow key down. I get to the last element. If I press right arrow key again, it should go and cycle back to the first element. So yeah, it's working. Same with the left arrow key. That's working as well. and then the tab key, okay, it's working. So all of this, the keyboard interaction, everything seems to be working just fine. The only thing I'll test is the HTML element to see that everything is using the right HTML. And okay, I forgot to test the home and end key. Let me test the home key. So the home key should still move to the first element. The easiest way to actually test this thing is to add more items. So let me go ahead and just add some more items. So I'll say duplicate this one and duplicate that one. Make this centered. This will be called tab 3 and tab 4. Okay, save it. Then now let me go back and just refresh and see. Okay, so we have 4 items now. This is easier to see. So if I press right arrow, working, left arrow, working. Now let me press the end key. It is working, but I think I noticed something. Okay, that means they are not doing one thing. So basically, what happens is that when you press the home and the end key, it should move focus to the last element, but it should not move the screen. It should only move the focus to the last element. But what's happening is that it's doing both interaction. It's doing both what the normal keyboard would do, which is move your focus down to the bottom of the page, as well as moving the focus to the first and the last element. So I think they have to watch it. Let me see if I can find an example here. So for this element, let's go. If I press the end key, it just goes to the last item. It doesn't scroll my page down. If I press the home key, it moves to the first element, but doesn't scroll my page up. So that is the one thing I think I've seen that they did wrong. If I press home, see it's moving my page up. If I press the end key, it's moving my page down. So that is not accepted. So they should work on that event listener. Now let me go ahead and inspect it and see, okay, so they're using ULLI. So, oh yeah, there's already a problem again. I knew there'll be a problem somewhere. They are putting the roles on the wrong element. So the way, let me see if I can pull it up. I don't know if I still have it somewhere. I think, let me quickly try to pull up that page. Where will it be stored now? Should be. I don't know if I can find it. So let me see. It was I showed it in one of my videos, but basically, what happens is that the way this should be structured is that this role equal to tab list, because as the name implies, it's a list of tabs. So if these are the tabs, so on the LIs, they are the tabs. So where the list of tabs should be on is on the UL. So the UL is supposed to be the one that is regarded as the tab list, and then it's telling us that it's a list of tabs. So the tabs should be the direct children of the UL, which should have the role equal to tab list. Or, in fact, that is even, yeah, that's it. Yeah, so that's the way they should do it. So the UL should have role equal to tab list. It's on the wrong element. It should be on the UL itself. Then the LI should have the role equal to tab. So just one minor thing they need to fix. Because if I go, let me first check out the accessibility tree and look for it. So see what's happening? It's now writing tab list, then list again inside before it gets to the tab, and then tab panel. That is not how it should be. As usual, I'll use the pattern to show what's going on. So here's the pattern. And let me see if I can find it. So as you can see, we have div with a role equal to tab list. Then within that tab list, we now have the direct children as the button. So button with a role equal to tab, button with a role equal to tab, and so on. And then after the entire tab list, we now come back to our tab panel. Let me go ahead and open the example so you can see it easily. So right click, I will inspect it. and check the stickman thing and see where it is. Okay, so as you can see, this is what I was explaining. We have the tab list, then we have basically tabs, and the tab list and the tab panel are two separate elements. So the tab list is not a child or a parent of the tab panel. The tab list and the tab panel are two separate elements. Whereas what they've done now is that they've made the tab panel to be a child of the tab list. Oh, okay, Eddie, thanks for joining in. We'll catch you on later. But yeah, so those are the things that Bricks need to do. They need to make the tab panel to be on the right, the tab list, should be on the right element. So let me see if it's the same thing for the last one, which is the tab nestable. So nestable tab. Okay. Okay, so let me save it and then just preview it on the front end. Close all of these ones. Okay. So yeah, the keyboard interaction is working. Yeah, the tab key is working. So yeah, the keyboard interactions are working. So let me press the end key. So it's the same problem they're having. The home and the end key have some things they need to fix. Then let me inspect and see if it's the same problem. I'm guessing to be the same problem. Okay, this is, yeah, it's similar problem. The tab panel should not be a child of the tab list. The tab panel should be separate. It should be a sibling to the tab list, not a child of the tab list. So that's the last thing that they need to fix. And I think every other thing looks okay. So the tab panel, yeah, it is having the label, which goes back to the tab. Let me look at it. So we have area selected. Okay. Do we have any area? Okay, yeah, that's it. So they are using roll equal to tab and then area selected. So yeah, and the tab index of -1. So I think everything here looks okay. This roll equal to presentation is useless. It's not needed because it's a div. And yeah, so that means they should have even put this roll equal to tab list should have been on this tab menu. So the tab menu is the one that should have the roll equal to tab list. It shouldn't be having a roll equal to tab or whatever, roll equal to presentation. So that's about it for the accessibility. So they've passed in terms of keyboard accessibility, but in terms of screen reader accessibility, they will still have some issues. So that's why they need to fix the HTML structure. Then I think that's it for the two items that they said they added. The video element, I said I'm not going to test it. The last thing I will just test is the one that they said, let me see if I can find it. They said the builder toolbar is now keyboard accessible. So let's go ahead and just look at that. I think I can close all of this now. Don't need any of those. The main thing we're looking at is, let me press Option or Alt T. And yes, it takes me to the item at the top of the page, but there's still a but here. Let me zoom it in as wide as possible. Now, my focus is actually on that B icon at the top, but how many people will actually know that I am focusing on the B at the top of the page? The problem with using only colors to represent focus is that it is easily lost. That's why the recommended standard is that we should use outlines, because outlines are easy to always find. When you see a rectangle around an element, you know that, okay, there's something about that element that I need to look at. But the moment you start seeing just shadows and colors changing, it can easily put people off, especially when maybe they are busy doing something and then they look back. It do not take them like lots of time to just find out that they're actually focusing on this B item there. Because if I press the tab key now, you can see the focus has moved to this selector for your pseudo elements. But that's the problem, because as you can see, this is yellow color. This is also yellow. There are so many yellow colors here that it's hard for me to decide which of them am I actually focusing on. They're all literally yellow. But the moment I put a yellow outline around it, then my brain can easily say, okay, yes, I know where I'm focusing on now. It is on the, what's it called? The icon. So that's one thing that they need to fix. So yeah, it's good that they've added keyboard focus, but this is not the way to do keyboard focus, because one of the rules with the Wika guidelines in the, I think, I can't remember what it's called, but basically one of the recommendations is that you should not use colors as the only way to recognize a change. There must be something else. That's why it's always good to, let me show you one website like WebAIM. They are my best website to test for so many things. If you go through the tab, what you see here is that they do two things at the same time. They will make the element to have this border, and then they will make the text itself to become thicker. So immediately they're using two things at the same time to represent the change. So your eyes, if you cannot see one of them, you at least be able to see the other one, which is what makes it okay. So they're doing three things here. First, they changed the color to red. Then they made it thicker, and then they put a focus outline. So there's no way you'd say you missed that element. So that's one thing that they need to look at. So in terms of the accessibility, yeah, they have added some things, but I think they still have a long way to go. They still need to make some changes to make it fully accessible. And I was saying that, okay, one other thing that they need to check, I think when I was adding an image, let me add an image. And on a side note, for BricsForge as well, I hope he's listening, his element is also not keyboard focusable. So if I press the Alt-T and I start tabbing through, I'm supposed to tab through to these two elements, but if I press the tab key, I jump his elements. So his elements are there visually, but they're not in the tab order. So he needs to somehow fix those items. But yeah, that's it for the accessibility of Brics. If you have any questions, please do leave them in the comment section. I would like to hear your questions and your comments before we move on to the next one. So let me see. Let's go ahead and see. Okay. My system has frozen. Okay, so yeah. Let's now go ahead and do the next one, which is Elementor. So we're done with Brics for now. So we'll go ahead and now test for Elementor, and I'll show you some things that I didn't like with Elementor, and we'll also still be following this whole report from and behind to give us as a guide. So let me close all of the other elements. So close all of these. So that's it for Brics. If you came here for only Brics, I think that's it. No other thing added. The other thing I would say about Brics before you can jump off if you're a Brics user is that there is a bit of a thing that people have been like debating about focus for like the skip links. So some people will argue that the skip links, one, if there are more than one skip link, they should be in a list. So you don't just put them A and A here. They should be in a ULLI tag and then having A's inside to tell us how many skip link items are there, not just telling us that there are skip links. I believe we can see that with MDN docs. I'm not sure if they did it. Let's see. Let me inspect. And as you can see, there are skip links. Let me tab through on the page so that, oh no, let me go back. As you can see, they have skip to main content at the top, and then they have skip to search. Everything is in a ULLIA structure. As you can see, skip to main content and the skip to search. Those two elements are using a UL tag because it makes it easier for screen reader users to know that, okay, they are in the how many elements are they going to skip and all of that. So that is one good thing to do. Another thing that some people choose to do is, rather than putting the skip link outside of the UL, outside of all of the page semantic structure, as you see with WebAIM, what some people like to do with skip links is that they actually put it in the header. So you see here they have banner, then, or is it not them? Okay, no, not them. Okay. Oh yeah, okay. So that is most people put it outside of the banner region. Some people put it in the header. The banner is also regarded as the header. So yeah. So I guess that's the only thing that they might want to change in the future. Make the skip links, if they are going to be more than one, to be in a ULLI tag if possible. But that's about it. So yeah, that's it for bricks. They have other features that they've added, which you can go ahead and check out. Some nice, they finally brought the back to top elements and the rating elements and other elements like that. But yeah, let me go ahead and close them. And yep, we're now in Elementor. So this is for Elementor. If you're an Elementor user, you can go ahead and let me know in the comments so that I know that you're an Elementor user. Because nowadays I just switch between different page builders. So I'm not really focused on one page builder, but if you're an Elementor user, please do let me know in the comments before we start. Let me go ahead and see. Okay. Bye, Bob. We'll catch you later. Thanks for joining in. If you have any suggestions or any questions, please, you can leave them in the comments of the video once it goes into the replay so that I can get feedback and improve. And I will see you in the next one. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, you use both? Yeah. Because I use nowadays I use a lot. So I use Green Shift. I've been testing out Grade. I use Elementor and Bricks. I tested out Breakdance once, but I've not really gone back to it yet. I might go back later, but yeah. Here we have an Elementor website. Let me see this was one I was working on a while back in my previous live stream. So we're just going to be talking generally about accessibility for Elementor. And let me go ahead and show you the version that we are working with today. So for Elementor, the free version is 3.24.5 and the pro version is 3.24.3. So those are the two versions. Elementor has gone a long way in improving accessibility. They've done so many things behind the scenes, especially with their nested elements. So the nested accordions, the nested tabs, the mega menu and other elements like that. They've tried their best to improve the accessibility, but there will always be some issues. So that's what we're just going to be looking at today. Maybe in a future video, I'll go ahead and test out Green Shift as well, and we'll go through this same report and see if they follow the report, or we'll beg Amber Hines to do another video so she can do it more professionally. But yeah, I'll just use my own ideas to test it out. So let's go ahead and start testing. The first thing we test is, let's see, the components that we're testing. Okay, the skip links. So I made a comment, I think a week ago or so, about the way Elementor is, that their default is good. So for their Hello theme, their Elementor free version, the accessibility is quite good. But the moment you start trying to put in anything from the Elementor Pro, basically you are in for a big problem, because I will show you now. Oh yeah, I totally agree with you, Lex, that Igor is quite quick with solving problems. I remember the last time I showed him one issue, the same day I showed him the issue, that evening he sent me a message to see if it was fixed or not. And it was so quick. I was like, wow, he's so fast. Igor is one of a kind. Let me go ahead and now start with the skip links, and let me show you what I mean. So let me go ahead and close all of this breaks stuff. So let's go to a page. Let me see the page I was working on. So we have our page here. The way you check the skip links is that the skip link should be at the top of the page. So if I'm a keyboard user, what I do is I press Ctrl L to go to the top where the search is. Then when I start pressing the tab key, I can now go through the different elements. And after the whole of the admin bar, that bar should not be there. They have some accessibility issues with that bar, but at least people already know what that bar is. But immediately after the bar, when we now come to our proper page, the first thing that you should be greeted with is the skip to content link. The reason why we need this is that especially for pages where there are lots of links on the page, let's say we have 5 or more navigation links, we don't want your user to spend so much time having to tab through all of these links before they get into the main content area. The example I like to use is from the MDN docs. If you go to their website, let me see. And let me see if I can find one of their, I think it's their, or let me just search for something like figure tag. So if there were no skip links on this page and I was trying to get as a keyboard user to this link which says figure or the HTML portion, what I will do is now I'll press the Ctrl L and I'll start pressing the tab key. If these two skip links were not there, if you look at the top of the page, there's skip to select language, there's skip to main content, skip to search, and some other things like that. If those links were not there, and I was trying to get just to this, maybe this figure caption link, I would have to go through all of the menu because that's how they set up their menu. This is one of the problems that keyboard users face and why we try to tell you to put in so many things into your website to help users, because not every user is a mouse user or a pointing device user. Some users rely only on the keyboard, or some even go further and rely on screen readers, which rely on keyboards. So let me go ahead and keep tabbing. And you see, I'll have to go through all of the top links, then all of the sidebar links. And I'll keep going through all the sidebar links like that. And let me see if when I'm tabbing through, then before I finally get into the HTML that I was looking for, so that will have taken me about maybe 5 minutes, especially if I'm like a user who has motor skill difficulties and I can't easily operate devices. So it will have taken me maybe 20 or 30 minutes just to get to something in the main area here that I needed, because all of these other links, they are links that are appearing on every page, so they're not really that important. The important bits in a website is what is in your main content area. So that's why we always say you should put skip links, especially when you have so many navigation links before the main content area. If I press the Ctrl L to go back to the search, now watch what happens. Now I have skip to main content at the top of my page. Once I just press enter key, I've bypassed all of those navigation links at the top or at the sidebar, and I'm now in the main content area. If I press the tab key now, I immediately get to the focusable elements within the main content area. So that's one of the importance of skip links. And I'll show you the problem now with Elementor. So here we have with Elementor, the page. I'll do the same thing. So now I'm in the skip to content area. If I press that link, I'm now in the main content area, which is fine. If I press the tab key now, you see I'm actually in the main content area. So this is where I am now, this link, which I think I did wrong because the focus outline is not visible because it's the same black color as the main element. That's why we like to put the focus outline to have like 2 pixels away from your content. But right now, it's the same size as the element, so it's hard to see. But yeah, at least it's working. But that is it when you are using a regular page. The moment I now decide to create a single post template, I've created problem. Let me show you the HTML structure first before we go into the single post templates. I'll right click, inspect it, and let me show how the proper HTML should look like. So the way the HTML should look like is that we have the skip link at the top or in the header. It can be either way, it doesn't matter. But as long as it's the first focusable element on your page, should be the skip link. Then where it should be targeting is the content, which should be your main content area. So that's main with the ID equal to content. So that when I go from the skip link, if I click on the link, it should now do the anchor link to take me to the main content area and skip whatever navigation and all of the elements that are in the header. I should be able to skip it. That is all good and fine for the page, but the moment, let me go, like I said, if I go to back to the back end, then let me see if have I created any? Okay, let me just say for posts. So I have this post. So for my post now, let me go ahead and create a single post template. So I'll go to Elementor, templates, theme builder, and I'll say add new for my single post. Then let's see now. Should I just use one of them? Yeah, let me just, where's this basic one that they have? Or let me just do one from scratch. Just put basic elements. So I'll put the flexbox. Then I'll go ahead and drop in some, maybe the header or the heading, which should be the page title or post title. Okay, we have our post title. It is the H1. Then I'll go ahead and drop in the post content. And finally, I'll go ahead and drop in, what else? I think that's the basic part of a website. So let me just leave it at that. Let me give this a little bit of spacing. I'm using core framework, so I have so many utility classes and CSS variables. So I can just say gap and it will give me the spacing, top and bottom spacing. I'll add a condition, set it to be all my posts, save and close. So now we'll go ahead and see the first problem. So let me view on the front end. Ignore this. Let me go to the hello world post. View. So now here we have our hello world post that I've created using the single post template. So we just have our post title and the element, which is the post content. So that's our post title, post content. Now we'll go back and see if the skip link is working. To make sure it's working, I'll put a link within the post content for the hello world. So let me edit the page. I'll just maybe say can check out his YouTube channel. Then I'll go ahead and link this YouTube channel to my YouTube channel. So https youtube.com/daveden2. Okay. So I just want to make sure that the skip link is working. Come back to the page, let's preview it. So now we have a link. and we have our post title and everything. So now let me go ahead and test it out. So I'll start again with keyboard only. So I'll press Ctrl L. I'm at the top of my page. Start pressing the tab key. I have to go through all of this. And then now we've gotten to our skip to content. Now let me see if it's working. I'll press the tab key. Oh, sorry, I'll press the enter key now. And nothing happened. Why did nothing happen? Because the Elementor's single post template has broken my accessibility. So the skip to content link is no longer working. Why is it no longer working? Now we'll go ahead and inspect the page and see why it's not working. I'll right click, I'll inspect, and as you can see, what's happening here is two problems. One, we have our skip to content link, it's still there, everything is still there, but where is it linking to? It should be linking to our content. But as you can see, there is no more content, there's no more main tag. The main with an ID equal to content has just been replaced with a div with no ID, just classes, and that's it. So the moment you use the Elementor Pro theme builder to create anything, it's already creating accessibility problems for us. So the way to fix it, I think I have, let me go ahead and see if I can find the website. Let me see, search for my name. And let's see. Well, let me just search for skip link. Okay, so yeah, this is the website or the link. Let me share it with everybody in the chat. So that link now shows the problem and how to fix it. So what the problem is that Elementor's Pro Theme Builder, it removes the main tag one, and then it removes the ID equal to content. So currently, you go back to our theme builder. Ideally, where we add the main tag is under these settings here, single post settings. When you click on that, you see the HTML tag here. When we change it to the main tag and I press publish, we come back to our page, right click, inspect. You see that now we have the correct tag. So I have the header, I have the main tag, I have my A tag. The only limitation here now is that Elementor did not provide us with the important bit here, which is to be able to add an ID to the main tag. So let me show you what I mean. If I come back, if you go to that single post settings, we can change the HTML tag, but if you go under like advanced, all you see is custom CSS. If you go under like style, all you see is to change the background color and padding and margin and things like that. There is no way we can add in the important bit here, which is an ID. I don't know why they haven't fixed that yet. I think there is a bug report already about it. It's been ages, but no fix yet. So the only solution now is we have to now do something that we don't usually do, but it's not wrong. It's just that we tend to avoid it. We come back to our single post settings, yes. Come back to the general settings. We change the HTML tag back to a div. Then we create one container, which will now become like our parent main tag. That one will have no styling. So basically padding 0, margin 0, everything 0. It should have no styling. Then within it is where we now add in our actual content. So what we do is, okay, create a new flex box. This one, we set the content width, full width. Set everything to 0. Gap 0. Go to the advanced tab. Set the margin 0. Padding 0. Everything is like the element is just a wrapper container that has nothing attached to it. Then we come over to our actual content. Then I'll right click, and for now I'll just copy it Then go to the container, paste the content inside the container. I'll delete the first one, delete that. So now this container will now make it our main tag. This is only for the single post template and single page template. For your header and your footer, you don't need to do this. The header and the footer, you change the settings from the cog icon at the top. But for your main content area, this is the only workaround that we have for now. So for this one, which is the main, you now go under layout, then under additional options, you change the HTML tag to main. Then you go to your advanced tab and you give it that CSS ID of content. Then publish it. And that's it. I'll now go ahead and refresh now. Then maybe we try again. So now I'm the skip to content. Let me press the tab key again, or the enter key, I mean. And I think let me see. Inspect. We have ID equal to content, yeah. href, yeah. So that should be taking me to the content, okay. I think it should be working now. Let me come back to the hello world page, refresh this page, and see if it works. So tab, Control L to go to the top, tab through all the links. I get to my skip to content link. Let me press the enter key now. It should have worked, but then we have our second problem. The second problem is that Elementor are still using one very old CSS for their anchor links, which if you try to add your own anchor tag like this, it somehow doesn't work. Only when you use Elementor's way of doing it. The way to solve the problem is, I believe I have the link somewhere in this. Let me pause it and see if I can have this HTML there. Yeah. No. Okay, I think, yeah. You can go to one of these 3 blogs. All of them should give you the same solution. I'll go to mine for now. And I think at the bottom, you need to copy this whole thing, the script and the CSS. So copy that. And let me just go over to, let me see, which one will I use? Let me put it inside the single post template for now. But now you usually put it in a site-wide area. But for now, I'll just use the HTML element inside of my page. And then I'll just post or paste everything there. Save it. I believe it should work now. So I'll come back, refresh this page, and see if it works. So you see, it works. If I come back to the skip to content, I press enter, then I press the tab key. Now I get to my YouTube channel. Without that, let me go ahead and delete this again. Cut, publish, try it again, refresh this page, and I go to my skip to content link. I press enter, and I press the tab key. See, nothing works. Because, like I said, Elementor, with their Elementor Pro, it is constantly creating problems, basically, or because of their backward compatibility issues, they cannot remove some of this code, but those code are making our websites not accessible. If you think it's only my website that's having the problem, I will show you. Let me see, I don't know, any random Elementor website. I don't know if their website, let's see if Elementor's own websites are using a blog. Let's see their blog. Resources, blog, okay. Let me see if it works. So I'll go ahead and press the skip links if I can find it. Okay, skip to content, enter, and see. Even on their own website, the skip to content link doesn't work because of the same problem. It is causing problem for most of us, but we don't even realize it because Elementor, they have not fixed it even on their own website. So is going to be having the effect is going down to the rest of us, and we're all suffering from it without even realizing it. So we have a skip to content link. It only works on pages, because on pages we did not create a single post template. But the moment you create a single post template, everything just breaks down completely. So that's it. So for these skip links, yes, by default, they get all of the pass, but the moment you use Elementor Pro, all of this will just turn to a fail. Next, let's see the navigation accessibility. So Elementor, they have some passes. Let me see if I used, what did I use for this? Let's inspect it. Okay, yeah, because we're using the newer model, which is the nav, the mega menu. I think that one is more accessible, if I remember correctly. So I wouldn't test that. So I think that should be okay. But if you test their main navigation, the thing has issues when you go to mobile. Mobile view has problems. And what else? Let's see. The search. For that one, I will have to test it again because their live search has issues. So many of these things, they get a good score here, but when you're using them in practice, because when you're using them in practice, you're not using the default elements anymore. You're going to be using the Elementor Pro's version. Many of these things that they passed will turn to fail the moment you see it in practice. That is the sad bit about Elementor's accessibility improvement. Most of the things are okay, but so many things. Okay, yeah, I think the tabs and the accordion, most of their nested elements are okay. So because they are the newer versions of their elements, those ones are okay. But anything for their older versions, the moment you use Elementor Pro, it becomes bad. So that's something to watch out for. And yeah, what else do I check? See their accordions. Let me go ahead and test out the accordions and see. I think that will be the last one we test. Maybe the accordions and the tabs, just to go in line with the Bricks version, and then that will be all. So let me go to a page, maybe the home page, edit this page with Elementor. If you have any questions, please do leave them in the comments so that we can go ahead and check them out. But like I said, we just test their accordions and their tabs. So accordion, I'll drop it in, and let me drop some elements in there, maybe. So just some text elements with a link within the text element, just random links. Yeah. Part 2, do the same thing, drop a random, maybe a random button, and same thing. Then tab 3, just drop, maybe I'll drop in a text editor widget. Okay, that's it for the accordion. Let me go ahead and preview it on the front end and see the structure. Let's see. Let me give it some space. Publish it. And we'll preview it on the front end, refresh. Okay, so now let me go ahead and inspect and see. So they are using the details and summary tag, but this one is usually controversial because some people say it is okay, others don't like using the details and summary tag. But let's go ahead and even just test it with one of these tools, like maybe Ask Dev Tools, and see if there's any errors. So full page scan, it will catch out all of these. But I can ignore all of that. Or let me open it on, let's just open it in a private window so we don't have all of this top bar from the WP admin bar. So open that, and I will inspect again. Oh, okay, so it doesn't work within the, I have to use, I think I'm stuck using this because my accessibility, I didn't allow it to work within my private window. So that's why it's not working. So let me try it here. I'll try and see if I can find it. So full scan. Let me zoom out a little bit. Okay. All of these ones, we can ignore them. It is because of the admin bar at the top. Let's see. Starting from this one, I think that should be. Oh, it's also the admin bar. All of these problems are just basically from the admin bar. Let's see the links. Still okay. That's my fault. That's one of the accessibility problems. We should add a kind of text or alt text to our links. Links should always have some what they call discernible name. So either they have text content or they have an area label, just a kind of way to identify them for screen readers. At the moment, I just added an image without an alt text. So a screen reader will not know what this image is about. So that's why they always tell you for your images, remember to add alt texts for your images, especially if they are functional images. So that is images that link to somewhere. Those links should have alt text. But if they are like decoration images, that is things that like your box shadow or like your background or shape dividers, those kind of ones, you don't need to put alt text on them. But okay, so these semantic mistakes, they don't actually affect your page speed, because page speed is, as long as there are elements, they will load. What they affect mostly is the accessibility for people with disabilities. So imagine like someone like my friend, he only uses a keyboard to navigate. He doesn't use a mouse. He has been doing that since when we were young. And so many of these websites, they become harder to navigate because of some of these issues. Same thing happens for people with like use screen readers. So people who are blind, they rely on the accessibility improvements that you added to the page to be able to access the page. Because when I'm using a screen reader, I'm only listening to what you said it is. I do not know how it looks like. I'm only like experiencing the website based on what you say the thing is. So if you tell me that this is a H1, what I'll just hear is like heading 1. So that will now give me the idea that, okay, that must be the biggest heading in the page and is the most important heading. But if you go ahead and say this is the H3, then you are telling the screen reader user that this is not the main heading of the page, it is something else, and then they get confused because you are giving them the wrong information. So that's why the semantic HTML is more for accessibility reasons, and it also affects your SEO just in a little bit, because if a screen reader user can understand your website, it means that Google will also be able to easily understand your website, and that will make your website easier to rank. But if your website is just all divs and spans, it will take Google a bit more. I know Google is intelligent enough to try to piece together all of the information, but they could get it wrong because you chose to use the wrong like HTML tag. That's why we should always use the right HTML tag for the right elements. The header should have the semantic HTML of header. The main content area should have main. The footer should have footer, because when a screen reader or the search engine is now going through it, the search engine will just look through those structural HTML to say, okay, we have the header. That means the information in that header is not really important to the page. It is important to the website, but not the page. It will now go through to your main area. That is where it will now focus all of its attention on, because it knows the main content area is where all of the information for that page should reside on. So that's why we should use all of this semantic HTML. That helps both screen readers as well as the assistive technologies and your SEO tools to be able to identify all of these aspects of the page in an easier fashion. So That's why most of these things are indirectly helping us to get better SEO, because the more semantic HTML you use, the easier it is, and then you get your SEO boosts. It may not be much, but at least it's better than doing nothing. So yeah, that's it. And like, at least one of the things that Google also prioritizes is your responsive design. And responsive design is also part of accessibility, that it says that your website should be accessible at 400% zoom. So basically, if I press Control Plus, and if you watch at the top, currently is 125. If I zoom to 400, I should still be able to access your website. Nothing should be missing from your website, because technically at 400 it tends to be the way a mobile user will operate the website. So nothing should be missing. Nothing should be like hidden in a way that the user cannot access it. Which, yeah, let me see. I think that's will take me to one other point. I believe it is or maybe I'll have to find it out later. There's one mega menu I remember from one of our content creators. The mega menu is good, but when you now zoom into 400%, it basically creates problems. It doesn't work as it should. Let me try and go back. Yeah. Okay, yeah, I'm glad I was able to answer the question. So if any other person has another question, we'll tackle it. Otherwise, I think we can call it a day. But yeah, like I was checking this structure, and this is one of the problems I noticed already from the HTML. Like I said, the div is like a block level element. The block level element should not be a child of an inline level element. So the div should not be a child of the span. But I don't know why they did it this way. They have a span, then the child of the span is a div. In terms of HTML 4 or 5, I don't know. Basically, this is not allowed. It's not HTML that is allowed. So if you try to go through one of those HTML validators like W3C HTML validator, it will flag this as an error, because you should not have a span to be a parent of a div. The div should always be the parent of the span. Things like that. Then let me go ahead and see what they did in the HTML. So, okay. So they have a group. Okay. Then they have the disclosure, item 1, and then the region. Something. Okay, you see, this is a problem. I don't know. Most people will not notice it, but basically this is a problem. The title of the region should just be item 1, but they are basically, let me go back and see if I'm right. So it has so we have two elements. So what's happening here? This is the title called the summary, and then the content inside is called the region. So the summary and the region. But you see, role equal to region, okay, but the area labeled by is on the wrong element. So this is area labeled by, the ID is referring to is on the details tag rather than on the summary tag. So it's basically saying my name is, so let's say, for example, now my name is David. But now what this thing is now trying to say is that it is referencing my name as David, a young boy who was born in this date, and he is of this ethnicity, and is that. Whereas all we're asking for is the name, but you are labeling everything in the content as my name, which is not my name. My name is just David. My name is not web designer. My name is not content creator. My name is just David, but they are referencing the wrong element. That's why if you come back here, it now shows item 1 and then it lists everything. That is not actually the name. The name should just be item 1, because the area labeled by should be connected to the summary or the heading inside the summary. I think it should be something about the text inside of the summary tag. That is where the role equal to region should be like linking to. So that means they are linking to the wrong element. That's one of the problems with most of these page builders, that they're always, I think, like I showed you with breaks, it's kind of the same problem with Elementor, that because there are so much code that they have to go through, they start to put the wrong code on the wrong element, and then it creates problems. So that's why they have to go through so many like validations and testing. But I think all of these things still skip through the line. And unfortunately, once it has gone into production, the moment you send them a bug report, it will take ages to fix, because they have to start getting worried about backwards compatibility again. And it might take them another 2 to 3 years before they actually fix the problem, which is one of the problems with using page builders in general, and why people prefer to just go and use maybe Gutenberg or something. Because Gutenberg, before they release anything, they tend to do longer testing, and they tend to not put in all the information so that they don't create something that creates a problem for them for years to come, and we're stuck. In this case, Elementor has let me see if I can switch. Elementor has put the elements, and they've made that's little mistake they have made now. I think I've already reported the bug report. If I haven't, I will go ahead and report it soon. But that thing that I've done now, before they will fix it, probably will be like 4 or 5 versions ahead in the future before they finally get to fix this, because they still haven't fixed the issue with these what's it, the Elementor, the theme builder, and that one was reported, I believe it was 2019 or 2020. That's almost 4 years ago, but still no fix, and we are still stuck with it. But yeah, I think that's about it. I will go ahead and write a big bug report for Elementor and Bricks as soon as I end the live chat. And if you have any other questions before we go, please do leave them in the comments. I'll stay for a bit before we jump off. Thanks for the comments. I'm not sure I'm the best person for them to reach out to for fixes. I only just point out issues. The best people would be, I think they know the best people to reach out to. I don't know if they've reached out to them yet, but the problem is, in terms of like these bug fixes and or like accessibility related problems, it is very costly to like to consult for those things. That's why most of these page builder developers don't actually do it. Not because they can't do it, but because it's very costly for them. So they tend to dodge it. Yeah. Okay. Thank you everybody for joining in. I'm glad you were able to stay through to the end. I hope I gave some value, and yeah, I think I'll see you all in the next one. So, bye.